It's good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Why don't you tell everybody who you are, who you work for, and just a short introduction in what you're going to be speaking about today.
All right, so I'm Fadi Maktabi from OMD. I'm based in Dubai. Have a lot of experience across managing different clients across MENA. What I'm going to be talking about today primarily is about how we need to re-architect the way we market. With the surge of digital, I feel that we're sort of stuck into this overexcited marketeer syndrome that I'll take everybody through.
Perfect.
Yeah?
Excellent. All right.
Thank you.
Stage is all yours. Is that?
Yeah.
Just remember to wave it. Okay.
All right, so I wanted to sort of start off by talking about a phrase that we hear a lot in the marketing world, which is, the future is now. I completely disagree with the statement, but it's something that a lot of marketeers and a lot of marketers love saying. The future is now, the future is today. Again, the statement in essence doesn't make sense. So I'm going to start off with this picture. Does that date resonate with anyone? Other than it being my birthday? Back to the Future, exactly. So I wanted to start off with this because it's really interesting to see how we envision technology back in 1989, when the movie was made. I'm going to play a quick video.
On Wednesday, October 21st, 2015. 2015?
2463, 10987, and what?
Why isn't he home yet?
I'm not sure where Jennifer is, Mom. Should have been home hours ago.
Dad, it's for you.
How's it hanging, McFly? If this thing works, it'll solve all your financial problems.
Welcome home, Jennifer.
Be careful, old timer. There's some rough neighbors to see.
Shark still looks fake.
Hi, Fred.
Riot mode on. Cubs win World Series.
And I wish I could go back to the beginning of the season. Put some money on the Cubbies.
So I mean, we really did get a lot of things right back in 1989. We really did sort of have that instinctive understanding into where the future is going. Unfortunately, my dream didn't come true. I do not use a flying car to go to the office. And I really hope that one day I get to do that. But what I want to focus on is a lot more important than just technology, is how has technology impacted the human psychology? And I think that's something that we all really need to understand to be able to market better. Now, I am by no means a psychologist, but I'm really interested in the human brain and human psychology. So I'm going to just touch upon 6 different things that have allowed technology to change the way we look at things. First one is very morbid, and I call it Santa Claus is dead. And it comes from simple search and simple human interaction with technology. If you tell a child today about Santa Claus and that child doubts it by 1% and they're able to actually search on Google, they'll find out that Santa Claus is a fictitious character created by the Coca-Cola company. And that's really going to change and break tradition. That's really going to change the way that we look at a lot of things and the stories that we tell children. The second one, and Ben yesterday from Twitter mentioned this, and yes, the human attention span right now is 8 seconds. Again, I'm not focusing on the fact that we're 1 second less than a goldfish, but it does impact the way we produce content. It does impact the way we market. If we don't produce content that can capture consumer attention within the first 5 to 8 seconds, you've lost that person. And that's something that marketeers really need to understand in how you sort of build content. The next one is, a recent study this year shows that there's 16% lower memory retention in 2015 versus 2001. That's phenomenal. Now, that has not impacted long-term memory because we still remember as much, but it's impacted short-term memory. And it comes, again, very simply from the use of technology. I'm sure everyone here has always thought of something. The first thing you do, you grab your phone, you go to Google, you get an answer. I mean, obviously, I've asked Google more questions than I've asked my own parents. And that's really going to change how the human brain sort of captures and stores short-term memory. We create more. I think that's one of the most positive things that technology has given us. We create a lot more content. We're able to do a lot more with a lot less capital. And this is really something interesting. And marketeers are capitalizing on it, but I still think there's a long way to go. If consumers want to play with your content, they want to parody your TVC, they want to mock you a little bit on social media, you should let them. At least they're engaging and they're interacting. And again, the most important one is communication. I mean, we call it marcoms, right? It's marketing communications. The way humans communicate is completely different. We've moved away from sending letters to human contact to liking, sharing, commenting, snapping, posting, viewing, and these are all now modes of human communication. I mean, if I post something on Instagram right now, and for example, Michelle in the back likes it, just double tapping that screen is a mode of communication. And that's really gonna change the way we think about marketing, we think about products. And that's created the like junkies. And chasing likes is an addiction. It's exactly the same as being addicted to anything else. Again, I'm sure most of the people here post something on Facebook or on Instagram, you check it 5 minutes later and you're like, only 1 like in 5 minutes. I was hoping for more, you know, or you do the opposite. You post and you check after 5 minutes, you're like, yes, 15 likes in a minute. That's amazing. And then you'd close and go back again. The average consumer checks their phone 150 times a day. Now that's a US number. I'm pretty sure in this region it's a lot higher. And again, so obviously the consumer has changed, the human mindset has changed. And I think that's not just changed consumers, it's created a new breed of marketeer. A lot of marketeers are getting it right, but there are a lot of marketeers that fall within the 2 categories that I've defined here. The first one I call the overexcited marketeer. And it could not only be a marketeer, it could be a media exec, it could be a creative executive, it could be anyone sort of interacting in the marketing field. And what that is that marketeer that comes and says, I want to do everything. Snapchat, I want to do Facebook, I want to do mobile, I want to do TV, I want to do product integration, and. And that overexcitement really removes our eye off the ball, and we really lose how we market. The second one is the checklist-oriented marketeer. And that's that marketeer that wants to go back to their boss at the end of the day and say, oh, look, I did everything. Without really focusing on what's everything supposed to do? What are we trying to build here? And this is sort of what it looks. So we're doing Facebook. We're doing mobile. We're doing branded content. We're doing radio. We're doing print. Ultimately, this is what you get. You get a quilt, and I call this the marketing quilt syndrome. The problem with this is quilts look really ugly from far. It's patchwork, it's not efficient when you want to stay warm, and it doesn't look good. And that's sort of what you need to keep in mind in terms of how consumers are looking at the way we market. If you don't have an overarching theme, or I'll get into brand experience on the next slide, consumers see this. And the new age of consumer doesn't care about seeing this. So obviously the solution is simple. It's about brand experience. And brand experience is really about creating something that consumers opt into. It's always been the same. Marketing hasn't changed. Marketing has always had the same objective. It's about creating revenue, growing market share, building brand equity, giving consumers something that they want. I'm just going to play a very quick video, keeping up with the theme of Back to the Future, that we did for PepsiCo in London just a couple of days ago.
No one's gonna believe I'm in this.
Got this for you.
Yeah, I'm in the Back to the Future car. It's got a flash capacitor, the whole shebang. That was sick. I'm so happy to be alive.
love that everyone is taking pictures of us.
Now, I love that. I think the biggest thing that I'd want everyone to take out of this is if you see when people were engaging with either the Pepsi brand or the Uber brand, they were smiling. They were taking pictures. They were calling friends. They wanted to opt into your brand. They didn't just sort of get a message, boom, and sort of ignore it. And that's what we all as marketeers need to focus on. Now, to get that right, I've just sort of segmented it into 4 different areas. And the first and most important one is talent. The second one is how we roll out our campaigns. It's about being agile, and most importantly, it's tech and data. And obviously, looking at these 4, it's still that overarching brand experience. If you lose track of that brand experience, then you might as well not market at all. I'm going to start off with talent, and obviously the right talent will make or break your business. We start off with, you have to have the right talent. Usually when I say that, people ask, oh, so what do I do to my 45-year-old plus executive that's built my brand for the past 15 years? I'm not saying let's fire everyone that doesn't understand data and technology, but it's about educating. And this is something that I can't stress enough on. It's all about educate, educate, educate. As marketeers, we need to take it on ourselves to learn, to want to learn. And this is really important. Another one that I've seen that works is recruit your target. Start internship programs where you get these younger generations into your company, even if it's for just a couple of months. They will instigate change. They will tell you something that you never knew. And that's where your future demand is going to come from as a business. And finally, it's the talent with the right partners. And this doesn't just come with the whole client-agency relationship. It even works with the agency media rep relationship. I mean, if we all don't find the right partners that have the right talent, the industry isn't going to grow. Consumers aren't going to change. And your results as a campaign are just going to stagnate. The next one is media. And yes, this is a digital conference, and I'm a huge fan of digital. But media that works better together. And it's about integrating the approach, having a brand experience and using each separate media to sort of work according to what it's capable of. Most importantly, we need to set clear, accountable KPIs. Historically, when I started in this industry 12 years ago, we used to do plans based on, I don't want to say gut feeling, but it was more of a media activation. You know, book this ad for me. I like that program. I hear that this radio station is good. And that's sort of changed. And what's helped that change is the surge of data coming in from digital. And then when you take that data coming in from digital, you're able to also correlate that with other media. I mean, obviously, there's a huge correlation between digital and TV. Yeah, and obviously invest in research. What I mean by invest in research here, and it doesn't fall under the data and tech part, is gone are the days where we do basic planning based on media KPIs or simple correlations. Every single business deserves to have a proper econometrics model to understand really what's driving that brand growth. Having an attribution model to know exactly what media aperture is working so that the next time I plan, I'm able to learn from that and rebuild my plan again. Or else, you'll spend the entire year on an operational level having the exact same plan every single time. And I don't think anybody wants that. The consumers definitely don't want that. And obviously, content and context. And this is something that everybody's been talking about this year, and it surprises me that everyone's talking about this year. It's always been about content and context. You always need to have the right creative material on the right media. You always need to make sure that you're capturing the consumer's mindset when you're hitting them with an advertisement. Last but not least, it's always follow the 70-20-10 rule. 70 is covering the basics. You need your reach, you need your GRPs, you need your impressions, you need to get all of these media metrics and make sure your consumer is seeing everything. 20% is for calculated risks. If you see something that's been done globally, do it here, test it out. It might not work. Probably it will work. It takes guts for a marketeer to venture into that. And the last one is 10%. It's literally go crazy. Do something that nobody's done before. You won't know what works unless you try it. And if you take it back to the econometrics model I was talking about, if you don't try something, it can never tell you to try it. And I feel this is where a lot of marketeers get stuck on in terms of, okay, I've done this, it works, and that's it. Try to push the envelope. Be that marketeer that pushes change within your industry and within the full media and marketing industry. So you must be agile. Most important one is beware of competition. And competition used to be limited to proximity, and now competition comes from anywhere. One of the cases is Uber. I know this is such a popular one to talk about, but if you think of the concept of Uber, it launched in the US, I think around 5 years ago. I think if companies within different markets had adopted that model right before Uber came into their market, they wouldn't be facing the issues that they're facing today. It's not a complex model. So monitor competition wherever it is. If they're not in your market right now, it's very easy for them to roll out. Manage social. I think Hussein Dajani yesterday talked about the Itisalat campaign. I think they could have avoided a lot of backlash if they managed social better. It's about managing crisis management. And to do that, it goes back again, obviously, to having the right talent. Capitalizing on trends. So something that we've done is earlier this year, we've recruited graphic designers within a media agency. I mean, if I talked about this 5 years ago, people would have thought I'm crazy. We've recruited them because we need to be fast and agile when producing content to capture trends. Just a couple of weeks ago, there was a sandstorm in Dubai. We were able to roll out 6 campaigns within 60 minutes. And again, low cost, and it's all about speed and getting the right people. And then again, it's harvesting insights. And this is something I've put under agility. With the proper social listening and with the proper search monitoring, you can capture trends just as they pick up. A couple of weeks ago, I heard that there's a crazy trend in Kuwait to do with pistachio when it comes to food. Apparently, everyone wants something with pistachio now. If you have the right system in place and you monitor search properly, you'll find out when people start asking about it, and you can be one of the first F&B companies to launch something with pistachio. Capitalize on those trends right before your competition does. Last but not least, it's definitely about having the access to right data and technology. And as an industry, we've went from no data to big data, and that gave everyone a headache. Big data is troublesome. There's too much to look into. It's not easy, it's not simple. And we've moved from big data to smart data. And what's helped us do that is technology. And I've always told a lot of marketeers over the past 12 months, it's not about having people that know digital. You know what, you want to build yourself for the future? Have people that know technical. Have people that know technology, know what these tools do. I'm not sure how many are you familiar with the Loom Escape. All of this are a bunch of tools. There's 1,000+ tools and technology that work together through algorithms to make sure that your entire digital process goes from ad agency all the way to the publisher and to the consumer within less than a millisecond. If you don't understand how to use these, there's a problem, because there's so much insight that comes out of these tools and technology. And it's not about, again, understanding just how digital works. It's all of these different little technologies. I think the number that I last heard was there are 50 companies a month launching in the US to fill in still some small little gaps that are here. That's insane. And that ultimately has created what I like to call the arms race. And the arms race is more about media agencies, I'd say, than marketers. And it's about building a DMP, a data management platform, that's able to capture all that data. So when you do your retargeting, when you do your planning, it's a lot more efficient than what it used to be. I think the next thing that's coming up is the arms race within different industries. I see a lot of people from NBK here. So if you guys are a bank and you're not collecting your data today, if another bank does, they're better positioned in the future to beat you. And you need to have your own. Eventually, I think every company will have their own DMP, so that you're capable of getting the right consumers and getting the right target a lot more efficiently. And finally, again, I've talked a lot about the future. I'm going to end with the future of data. And I think we are coming to a point where we're going to move from smart data to predictive data. With a lot of data, we will be able to know when somebody wants a new car. If we know over the last 10 years they change their car every 3 years, you'll be able to target them before that. And again, but let's keep that to the future. So that really is the future. If there's anything that I want you to take from what I've shared today, it's about liberate your consumers with a brand experience they want to be a part of. Thank you.